Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA episode 240. I am Brennan. UFC 286, Edwards versus Usman, early prelims. If you are looking for the prelims, it's in the last video. Main card is the video before that. This is going to cover Lerone Murphy versus Gabriel Santos, Dusko Todorovic, Leroy Duncan, Jake Hadley, Malcom Gordon, and the rest of the early prelims. We're going to cover all of those here round by round. Speaking of coverage, I cover every single UFC event, PFL, most of the PFL, not the contender series, the whatever series that they're doing now, the championship series. The Bellator events, ONE FC, I cover those, break fights down round by round. If you like that kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel so you know the next videos coming out. I would really appreciate it. Let's get into the fight, shall we? Early prelims. If you miss these, there's some... you know what? This card, start to finish, I never felt like it was a slog. Part of that's because I tend to run it on tape delay, right? I'll start the early prelims. I still watch every single fight, obviously. I have notes. Like, again, for those of you guys who don't know who, by the way, if you're looking for a specific fight breakdown, it's in the timestamps down below. So if you look at what I do and you're like, oh, he just like watches fights and then talks about them randomly, kind of. That's kind of what I'm doing here. But I also do take notes. Right. So I take notes to keep track of everything that's going on. I started doing that a while ago. So even though I might not be watching it live, I think watching it live is less important as long as you're, catching up to the live event at some point. If you want to do the coverage the same day. So that's what I did. And honestly, these fights were pretty good, man. So the featured early prelim here, Santos caught a kick early and got a takedown, but they got right back up from that. Murphy was landing hard kicks to the body, landed a really great left hand. Santos landed a left kick to the body. Murphy was staying relaxed and waiting for a shot to land. There was a lot of talk in this round about how Santos was doing all these things and Murphy was just waiting and Murphy wasn't good. Like, look at the striking numbers here, 36-33 in favor of Santos. Yes, he did win this round. So, but here's what I'm saying. Murphy was staying relaxed. Like I said, he was waiting for his shots. He waited for a shot to land on the arms, right, when he was guarding, or he would shift and bounce it off the shoulder, and then he would counter. Santos with another takedown. They ended up getting right back up. It was a close round. Santos pulled ahead just a bit at the end, which is exactly what happened. You can see it. You can see it in the numbers. If you watch this with the commentary on, you'd be like, "Oh, this was Santos's round, start to finish." Absolutely not. If you watch, go back and watch. This is a great example of when the commentary team misses something, and it's not their job necessarily to give you an accurate representation of how the round should be scored, but they should be guiding you through the process, right? I forgot to put my mood lighting on. They should be guiding you through the process. And here's the thing. If they're guiding you, they're misguiding you is what I would consider this, because the striking numbers were very close. Lerone Murphy landed 18 shots to the head. Santos only landed 16. Body shots. Santos landed one more. It was the leg kicks that made the difference, right? The leg kicks were what put Santos ahead on the striking numbers. When they were talking about it, it was like a foregone conclusion that Murphy was losing this round, and I didn't see it like that. I saw it being very close. Go back and watch this with the commentary off, and you tell me who you think is winning that round. I still gave the round to Santos. But it was not this, like I said, not a foregone conclusion 2 minutes into the round. Oh, focus. Okay. Nice left hand from Santos, then a left hand from Murphy. Rock Santos just a little bit. Murphy got a takedown. He's actually landing damage when he gets a takedown. That was another big thing is, Santos, anytime he would get the takedown, he wasn't doing anything with it. Nice kick from Santos, takes the legs out of Murphy. Murphy then lands two big right hands, stopping Santos right in his tracks. Santos got the takedown and put the body triangle in. And I hate to give credit for just having position, but Santos might have taken that second round. Now, if you look at the striking numbers here, 27-13 in favor of Murphy. If you're going for the damage, I would give it to Murphy. You want to look at, here's the control time. Pretty close, 1:14 for Murphy and 1:45 for Santos. It's just that Santos had the back for a significant portion of that time. And as I said in my last video, he was probably closer to finishing that fight in that round with that back position. Although, if you gave either one of these first rounds to Murphy, I could understand, especially the second round with how the disparity in the striking numbers there, especially because the damage definitely went to Murphy. So I'll give that I'll give that second round. I had Santos up 2 rounds. Okay. Santos getting the takedown after taking a huge 1-2 to the face, right back up. Then Santos in on the clinch. Santos's nose looked broken. I think that's why he doesn't want to stand anymore. Murphy was landing really well, almost at will, taking his time, finding his openings. Santos with a big left hook, and a carry and a slam. So he picks the guy up and he picks Murphy up and then slams him. Murphy worked his way back up. Didn't take any damage from Santos other than the initial impact. The last round was Murphy's round, but I don't think that first round went his way. I had it 29-28 in favor of Santos. Lerone getting I thought he got a little bit of a hometown bump just from the pop of the crowd. 35-20 in this last round, definitely his round. Looking at the scorecards, I am interested to see how they scored this because I have not looked. Nobody gave that first round to Lerone Murphy. Understandable. I get that one. Second round was split. 2 judges gave it to Lerone Murphy, and 1 judge gave it to Santos. Yeah, I think that second round was closer. The third round definitely was Murphy. So that's exactly right. I feel like that second round was really the pivoting round. Like I said, the first round went to Santos, but they're all relatively close. So interesting. Let's talk about a less exciting fight, and not because of just because of the length and it went and not much happened during it, and how it ended was quite disappointing. Dusko Todorovic taking on Christian Leroy Duncan. Kind of a disappointing fight. Dusko looking fine. I thought they were staying at range and they were trading with varied kicks, and Dusko actually moved his damn head, which he is horrible at. He is horrible at moving his head off the center line. He leaves his chin very high when he exits, and he gets tagged a lot. Somehow the right knee hurt from pivoting and planting on it, and Todorovic appeared to injure himself. It was not due to a kick. It was not due to... it was just him, not somebody. It wasn't even a takedown. He just stepped weird on it, and it looked to be that something popped. It was... the details of this fight are TO 2. I'm guessing. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. But it's unfortunate that this happened because Todorovic has, finally won a fight again. He's traded wins and losses, and this is unfair for him to have this kind of happen, or have this thing happen to him. It's the way of the world. It's the way of MMA. Shit happens, and it's unfortunate. I hope he gets better soon. It's a good win for... it's not really a win, but it's something, right? It's Duncan. He got a win. I don't know what else to say about that one. It seems stupid to dwell on it any more than I already have. All right, Jake Hadley taking on Malcom Gordon. Gordon missed weight by 3.5 pounds. Uncool. I am not a fan of that. I'm pretty vocal about that every single time. I really do think it's sanctioned cheating. I think it's garbage. I think the punishment should be more severe, and I think it should be immediate. But I'm not in favor of taking money away from people. I'm not in favor of taking food out of their family's mouths or anything like that. I am more of a fan of punishing them in the octagon. So immediately taking a point, taking a point out of the first round, whatever just being down a point for the fight. I think that would be a way to something to explore. And it's all negotiable, because if you don't want that point deduction, then you don't get to fight. Gordon started fast with some hard low kicks, but the stiff jab and great body shot from Jake causes Gordon to collapse. It was beautiful. He just landed this a beautiful jab and then dug to the body, and this immediate collapse. Fantastic win for Jake Hadley. Malcom Gordon loses. I don't know. I don't know what they agreed on for him, but he's going to lose a portion of his purse, and he already didn't get half of it because he lost the fight anyway. So unfortunate for him, but hey, don't sign on the line if you can't make the weight, man. I don't care if it's short notice or what. Joanne Wood versus Luana Carolina. Wood was the one taking the center, lands a nice right hand. This fight was actually action-packed start to finish. Lots of offense. Okay, similar to the female fight on the main card with the amount of action. Nice right hand. She pushed her way to the cage and back and forth clinch work. Joanne was very clean with her striking, but she's looking a little stiff, kind of slow. She's still winning most of the exchanges. And this first round was close visually. Wood landed more strikes, and I feel like it was more damage. I guess I'm wrong. Carolina and Wood landed the exact same amount. Okay. How about total strikes? Maybe that's what I saw. Maybe they're not counting those. Because 55 to 42 as far as total strikes go, significance. Not every strike was a significant strike. So maybe that's where I kind of gave the edge to Joanne Wood. I had her up 10-9. In tight, Wood was able to land elbows and short shots at distance. This is a closer round in the second one. Wood was landing a great front push kick to the face. Beautiful push kick to the face, by the way. Wood with a trip and some kicks in the one up, one down position. I hate that position. Close round, and I went with Joanne Wood yet again. 33 to 24 so far as significant strikes go. And this last round, distance was still good for Wood. Carolina not landing as well as she did in round 2. The clinch work from JoJo was still landing much better. Every time they got into the clinch, Wood did such a better job of landing in tight. Wood was having to chase her down. She's even outlanding her this time. The strikes from Carolina aren't so powerful as to counteract all the damage Wood landed, especially late, landing a great right hand to finish the fight. 30 to 27 on my scorecard. 60 to 38 for the total striking numbers in favor of Wood. And then one judge did have 2 rounds for Carolina, so let's check that out real quick. Let's explore this together. So we had David Leatherby giving all 3 rounds to Joanne Wood, which is how I scored it. One judge gave the last... Oh, my God. First round to Carolina? Maybe. Last round to Carolina? No, dude. And no one's going to talk about this shit again because Joanne got the win, and she, should have got the win. So there's not going to be a big discussion about this Vito Paulillo calling this last round for Carolina. That's horrible. That one's bad. She got outstruck, outdamaged. Everything went in Calderwood's favor. Holy shit. That's not good. And that's no good. No, man, that's horrible. What does this mean for Calderwood, though? Or Joanne Wood. Sorry. I'm not doing that to be I'm not trying to be a jerk. Calderwood just rolls off the tongue. So she had 3 losses in a row versus Lauren Murphy, Talis Santos. Oh, it was a split decision to Lauren Murphy in which she should have won. I do remember that. And then she loses to Alexa Grasso, who is now the champion. So that loss doesn't look so bad. Caitlin Chukagian. She has a win over Ariane Lipski, which that looks good. She said she's still looking to fight for the title. She is on the older end, but with the skill level in the female division, it's possible she could fight for a title, but unlikely. Possible, but unlikely. She's only got one more shot, really, at this. All right, Jai Herbert versus Ludovit Klein. This fight was fun. Marred slightly by a point deduction, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. It was a good fight, though. Fun to watch. Herbert was kicking a lot. Klein catches one of them, ends up getting the takedown. Herbert cut Klein with an up kick and staying aggressive off his back. Why do I have 4 or 3 G's in aggressive? Aggressive. Idiot. Herbert was outlanding Klein. He caused that massive cut over that eye in that first round. I had him up 10-9. So if you look at the striking numbers here, it says 11-11, but I bet you if you look at the total strikes, yeah, there it is. Okay, so he was ahead on total strikes, so he did land more. Even though Ludovit Klein was technically in control for a longer period of time, I felt like he took more damage, and I gave that round to Herbert. Klein is not in range when they are in the middle. He's trying to clinch, but Herbert was using that as well. So, when they're in the clinch, it was kind of 50-50. There's a better round for Klein, but Herbert was still doing the damn thing, keeping the damage at range, and I gave him the second round as well, up 15-11 for significant strikes. I had him up 20-18. Klein was still controlling the cage in the center, but every time he goes for the clinch, Herbert reversed. Every time that Klein got into a clinch situation against the cage with Herbert, Herbert would dig for an underhook and reverse him. Every single time. There was a knee to the nuts from Herbert, and then they separate and exchange, but Jai kneed him to the nuts from the exact same position, and there's the point deduction. So Herbert got him into a clinch and then kneed him in the nuts against the cage, and then did the exact same position and kneed him the exact same way right into the nuts. You have to take a point. It was less than like 30 seconds after the first warning, so it's unacceptable. You can't have that happen. It's unfortunate. So this is going to be a relatively short video, so I'll talk about this here because I figure it's pertinent. Obviously, we had it happen in the main card, but that video got crazy long, so let's talk about it again here, as I usually do. Right? I know it, for those of you guys who watch me regularly, I tend to go off on tangents about fouls and how they are not. There's not proper point deduction. There isn't proper punishment for this stuff, and I think the fact that Herbert. Here's what I want to say about this one. Had Herbert kneed him in the first round in the nuts, and he would have got a warning, right? We can all agree on that. Let's say this exact situation happens where he knees him in the first round, right? He knees him in the first round in that position. And then in the third round, this exact same thing happens again. Do you think a point deduction would happen? Honestly, what's your opinion? Do you think a point deduction would happen? Based off what I have seen and as many fights as I watch, I would say there would be no point deduction. So what makes it different that it only took him 30 seconds to do it? What's the time? What is the time between fouls that's acceptable where you're not going to take a point? Is it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a round? What is the acceptable time to wait before your next free foul? This is my problem with this, because when we all watched this, we saw that, he hit him in the nuts once, and we're all like, okay. And then he hit him in the nuts again, and even me, right? Me, someone who's advocate for point deduction every time, I'm like, okay, well, this for sure needs to be a point deduction. Why? Why does this for sure need to be a point deduction? And I'm thinking this myself. I'm like, why is this any different than any other time it has happened? Now, I guess you could make the argument that, his body hasn't had time to recover from the first nut shot. That's what the 5 minutes is. You're given up to 5 minutes to recover from an illegal shot, an illegal blow, a foul, right? You're given up to 5 minutes to recover. So if you don't take that time, that's on you now. So what if he takes the 5 minutes to recover, comes back, and then now gets kneed in the nuts again? Do we give him another 5 minutes? Of course we do. Now do we take a point? Probably. But that's what I'm saying. Why does that matter? If it happened in the first round and the third round, why you probably wouldn't take a point. But if it happened in the same round, now you take a point. He's given plenty of time to recover, or not plenty of time, but he's given time to recover. And that's his choice whether or not to take it. Anyway, there was a point deduction, rightfully so. I think it was the right move. I'm not criticizing the point deduction. I'm more criticizing the system and why we all thought, including me. Why did I think that? That's just because it's a stupid human brain thing where if something happens 2 times real fast, we put more emphasis on it. That's all it is. Jai with the takedown. He stayed on top and landed some good damage. Klein worked his way up and gets a takedown himself. Herbert spent more time on top and did more damage throughout. I had that last round a 9-9. Although, I gave it 29-27 for Jai Herbert. If the judges saw the elbow in the second round, you could grade it for Klein. So here's the thing. Klein did outstrike him in this last round. I just felt like Herbert definitely won it. He had 2 minutes and 30 seconds of control time. He was able to land plenty of damage when they're on the feet. But it ends up being a draw, a majority draw. And the reason for that is 2 judges gave that second round to Klein, which I get. David Leatherby is the one who scored all 3 rounds for Herbert. So that's how I saw it. I don't necessarily know if that's right, but I'm interested to see how that turns out. I'm not a fan. Are you guys a fan of running it back? And I don't mean running back like all fights or any fight. I mean this specific situation where we have a draw and then we want to run it back. Why? They were the second fight on the early prelims. Let them move on with their career. If they happen to fight each other again, they can. Who cares? Why do we need an immediate rematch? Like both guys are like, yeah, man, we want to run it back. I get it. Because especially if you're in the gym, right? If you guys train in anything, or if you play ping pong, I don't care. Ping pong, tennis, basketball, football. Football less likely because it's not a one-on-one thing, but anything where you're playing one-on-one with people, right? If something happens, you're like, you have like a situation where it's close or whatever. Oh, let's run it back. So I get the human instinct of like, oh, let's do it again. Let's give it another try. But logically, are you guys for a rematch due to a draw that happened it's not inconsequential as far as their careers and all the other things, but as far as the landscape of the UFC, does this fight affect anything? Not really right now. So let's just let them move on with their careers. Okay, I see no need to run it back. We're not talking about a title eliminator. We weren't talking about a title fight. We're talking about practice. What are we talking about here? Practice? Anyway. Veronica Hardy versus Juliana Miller. This fight was interesting to watch. Hardy coming back. Obviously, Veronica married Dan Hardy, so she changed her last name. Now Veronica Hardy. So in this fight, it was interesting to see, like I said, because Hardy had some skills that I don't remember seeing the last time I watched her fight. I don't remember her that well from before. And Miller was just trying to big brother or big sister, just like bully her, and Hardy was having none of it. So Hardy was doing a good job. Early kick into the inside of the thigh, landing the overhand right. Miller was off balance or staggered. Either way, she got dropped to a knee at one point in this first round. Miller trying to walk her down, but she's just slow. She's slow to act. Hardy was popping her with the 2-3 shots for trying to get close. Every time Miller would move in, she'd be like pop, pop, pop. Every single time. Hardy was landing 3 or 4 shots for every shot Miller landed. Easy round for Hardy. If you look at this striking numbers, 26-19 in favor of Hardy. Great round for her. Second round, Hardy landing clean 1-2 a couple times to start the round. Miller falls on a takedown again, tries to attack off the back. She started, I talk about it later. So there's a big hematoma that started on Miller's forehead. I think it was due to an elbow when they were on the ground. Miller used a Kimura to end the round to get a reversal, but that's pretty much it. She lost this round as well. 16-8 for significant strikes in favor of Hardy yet again. And the last round, Miller's walking her down, walking right into bad grappling exchanges and still taking damage. Miller's really aggressive off her back, but her setups are sloppy. This was a great example. So I had it 30-27 for Hardy. Now, this was a great example of what happens when you are super aggressive with jiu-jitsu, but you just don't have the fundamentals down, and you don't know quite what you're doing. Like, your setups just aren't there. You're trying to rush through your setups to get to the finish, but you have some innate athleticism and ability and flexibility, something that can give you the edge over a lot of people in jiu-jitsu. But when you meet somebody who's got some fundamentals down and can handle that kind of crap, and they've met people who are athletic and gifted physically for whatever reason, they're used to that stuff. This is what happens. You end up with someone who's constantly going for a submission and they lose position. They go for a submission the wrong way. They throw things up and they usually get the random stuff, and Hardy was having none of it. So great win for Hardy. I do want to see something. Nope. Paul Sutherland, even he couldn't screw this one up. Neither could Vito Paulillo. They both had it. It was 30-27 on all three scorecards. I do remember that. Okay. I just thought it would have been funny if this jackass started out the card and gave us a hint as to how bad he was going to be throughout the rest of the night. All right. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. If you like this kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out. I'd really appreciate it. Let me know what you guys thought about the fights. Overall, I do recommend, if you have time throughout the week, throw some of these fights on. There's a lot of good ones to watch. High action, a lot of athleticism, people with a good future in the sport. This card was great. I did enjoy watching it. It did not feel like a slog. It did not feel like a job to watch this one. I do recommend going back to watch this. And if you didn't shell out for the pay-per-view, find a way to get it. Find a way to watch it, whether it be your friend's house or however. I do recommend watching this one before it's available on UFC Fight Pass. It's worth it. The pay-per-view is very good. So, and if you don't want to do that, all the stuff that's available on ESPN Plus right now, I do recommend watching. So I appreciate y'all. It means a lot to me. Thank you for stopping by. If you're looking for the other fights and somehow you ended up at this one, go back and check out my last two videos. They'll be up there. So I love you guys. Have an amazing week.